Hey guys, how's it going? Marcelo here. I've got another discussion video for you guys today, and this one's about video game film adaptations. Now, this is a really iffy subject to say the least. As you guys know, there are dozens of video game films that have not done so great. Mario Brothers, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, dozens. Just dozens. So, I could go all off on that, but of course I'm not. That's not really the point. The point is actually the opposite. Can video game films in this day and age actually do some good? Now, one of the recent ones to come out, Hitman Agent 47, I haven't seen. I actually never played a Hitman game, so I'm not really too much into that series. According to people, it's not that great. That doesn't really come as much of a shock, but again, I've never seen the film, so I don't know how it really is to judge it for myself, so I'm not going to agree or disagree with that. But it would not surprise me if it really actually did suck. So, given the subject matter. So, not Hitman, but the fact that it's a video game film adaptation. Anyway, so I come with some news that there's been a Mega Man live action film announced. It's a partnership between Churnin Entertainment and 20th Century Fox. So, I don't know how that's going to turn out. It's live action, though, which is the thing. With the fact that so many animated films like Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, Inside Out did very, very well, and it's a very good movie. The fact that CG animation is like the animation for kids films right now, my question is, do all of these video game films, should they be like that now? Two that are coming out, by next year or so, Ratchet & Clank and Sly Cooper, are very close to the source material, and even more so with Ratchet & Clank because Insomniac helped with the animation, characters, and stuff like that. And there's going to be a reboot game that's going to complement the movie, which is based off the first game. So, that's awesome, actually. I'm a pretty okay Ratchet & Clank fan. I'm pretty, what's the word? Not really a big fan, but I am quite the fan. Ratchet & Clank is awesome. I'm a bigger fan of Sly Cooper, and Sly Cooper is awesome, and this film looks like it's going to be amazing. So, there are two things that I really want to talk about in this video about how you can make these films way better. I'm trying to get together my thoughts. I'm sorry, hold on. So, there were two things, but I was going to mention something else really quick. Don't remember what it was, but with the fact that Insomniac is helping out on this film, it should be a no-brainer that these people, point number one, these companies that have worked on the games should help with the movie. That just kind of makes sense to me, because look at the Mario Brothers movie, 1990, I want to say 3. Nintendo was just like, okay, you have the rights, make this movie. And what came of it is this film that had nothing to do with the source material. So that's one of the hugest problems with these films, is that now if it's something like Wreck-It Ralph, where it's based around video games as a whole and just happen to have like cameos of licensed characters, that's fine. Wreck-It Ralph did really good. And it probably would have done good if it were more centered on, it would have probably done just as good, if not better, if it were centered on the characters, the licensed characters. But that's not what I think. I'm glad that it's Wreck-It Ralph, a movie about this video game character named Wreck-It Ralph, and not have like the licensed characters do more than just be cameos. Because it's good for the Roger Rabbit effect, where it's just like all these characters and they're there just because they're there and they live in this world. But it's the fact that this original movie, of these original characters, it should be about those characters. I'm going a little too off topic though. What I'm trying to say is that those kinds of movies do pretty good. Scott Pilgrim didn't do as good, at the box office, but I like that film. So I'm not saying that, that means it's good. I'm just saying, like, in my opinion, it was actually a really well put together film. In my opinion. But the main topic is that, point number one is that these companies that make these games, if there's going to be a film adaptation, I would think that it'd be in their best interest to take a huge part in developing the film. I went to a panel with Caleb and Wes in LA not too long ago, and we found out that one of the, I'm blanking on his name, I'll remember his name and I'll have it here. He was working, before he left Insomniac, with, on the film, on the Ratchet & Clank film, and I heard this straight from his mouth. We were there watching him talk with Neil Druckmann and a bunch of other writers from the industry that have worked on a bunch of games. And I think even Neil said something about the Last of Us film that's in development right now. And so that's one of the bigger points. If you're gonna if you know that you're in this company that has made this game, and if you know there's going to be a film adaptation, I think that if rights permit it and all that stuff, since you own the frickin' rights to the franchise that these people are asking to borrow or to have, for the film, you would think that you should. I think they're messing with the door behind me. Yeah, you would think, let's jump on that boat and help make the film. So that's number one. Number two is a little more complicated than that. And what is happening behind me? Oh, I thought you were messing with the door. Anyway, point number two. It's a little more complicated than point number one, but point number two, which I heard from a game theory video, is there's one element that you can't replicate in movies that you can in film. That's the experience. And by that, I mean, because what? You would think, oh, the experience. Well, you're watching something happen on the screen in a game, and in a movie, you're watching something happening on a screen. But that's not what I'm talking about. The thing I'm talking about when I say experience is like the direct, experience between like the player, so for the games, the player and the game. Because in a movie, everything's been scripted out, everything's been done, you're watching these characters do these things, and it's what the script has called for, what the script writers have made these people do, and you're just watching it. In a game, it's kind of the same thing because the script writers have made these characters do these things, but you're directly controlling the characters to do those things. In a film, you can't do that, so unless it's like an interactive DVD off special features game or something, but it's a game, so movies can't, replicate that. Although there are some workarounds, I believe, to be able to do that, to be able to reach that kind of, like, I wouldn't say fake, like a fake effect, but it's just more of like a way to mimic the experience by either directly copying a famous scene, like, let's think of a famous scene. Let's just say Uncharted had a film, and it was based off the first one. So in the first one, when you're in the temple, before you find out about El Dorado, you're running, and Nathan Drake is on like this rickety-ass bridge, and there's these pillars falling down, and the camera's towards you, almost in a Crash Bandicoot style. You have to go towards the camera as the pillars are falling behind you. Now, if in the film, say it was animated or live action, and they replicated that scene, you would want the camera to sweep around to where it's facing Drake, and Drake's running, and all the pillars are falling. So it's a close mimic. It's a close, capture of what happens in the game. Trying to mimic the game as much as possible where it's deemed fit. That, I believe, could get a lot more immersion out of at least players who, the people who have played the games and are seeing this movie, and they're like, oh, I remember that. They actually got that really close to how it is in the game. It's to make up for that lack of direct connection. And I think that would be a really cool thing to implement every now and again to remind you this is kind of how it is in the game. And even if I know that in saying that, people who haven't played the game and are seeing this movie might not get that, but it's a little hard to explain in and of itself. But I think it would help. I think something like that, along those lines, would probably help. If you were to try and mimic certain camera shots or exact pieces of dialogue or something to that effect to closely mimic those moments in the game, it could probably lend to another realm of immersion, if done right and done cleverly. So those are my main 2 points for that kind of to be able to make video game films work. I would think that one, these people who have made these games would have a bigger hand than they have in the past, because you just sign off the rights to someone to make a movie about your game, and they don't even give enough of a shit to, try to reach that kind of immersion and match that kind of feel and experience that like people have had with the games. If you're not even going to do that, what's the point of making the film? It's just going to suck. It's going to be dead on arrival. So that's why Super Mario Bros. Is known worldwide as the first one to be based off something, but it's the worst because they did nothing besides make Mario wear red and Luigi wear green, and that's like in the last act of the film. So, I'm not an expert. I am trying to do my own fan-made film on Crash Bandicoot right now, and these are the kinds of things that I'm trying to think about, like, Clancy Brown did Dr. Neo Cortex in the Naughty Dog trilogy of Crash. How cool would it be if I actually asked Clancy Brown to reprise that role? I don't know. Things like that, though, would help greatly on these kinds of projects. So, the boulder scene from Crash, I'm just going to say right now, I'm thinking of writing that in. I'm going to find a clever way and an immersive way to write that scene in. So, I need to make sure that I get it right in a way that you feel immersed if you're not even a fan of the games or have never played the games. And for those who have, know instantly, that's the boulder chase scene from the first game. That actually kind of looks like the boulder chase scene from the first game. So it's that kind of connection that you can't exactly reach otherwise, but there are workarounds. I believe there are workarounds to that kind of stuff. It's just how to find them, how to do them right, and the reaction to the people that watch, your viewers. So that's my 2 cents on video game film adaptations. Let's hope that Sly Cooper and Ratchet & Clank do really well with it being CG animated. That's also at point 3, extra point. Find a format in which it best fits. Mario Bros. Never should have been live action. There were, rumors and stuff that Sony Pictures wanted to team up with Nintendo to make a CG Mario film, and see, that would have been cool because Nintendo would have helped. And because Nintendo had like almost no real inclusion, I don't think, in the original Mario Bros. Live action film, nothing is like the games. And besides a Mushroom Kingdom reference and the aforementioned color, coded brothers. So, I don't know. That's really it. Like if an Uncharted movie, which I think is actually being talked about. I know Last of Us is trying to become a film. Shadow of the Colossus needs to become a film so bad. Those I could all see live action, just right there. Or even if you want to do like Uncharted and like really like Deadpool, when the Deadpool movie trailer, when I was in the trailer, it was like a, oh god, I'm blanking on so many words, I'm sorry. That Deadpool freaking CG test footage, like that was CG and that looked all CG and that looked awesome. So if like Uncharted was like that, if you want to go the CG route, that would be beautiful. Or you could go the live action route, just get some really good actors. But anyway, I'm rambling, so that's it. I think that those kinds of points are things one should think about when making a big budget adaptation of a film, of a video game into a film. So that's it. I'm Marcelo. I'll see you guys later, and take care.